Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another CCA webinar. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. First, just a reminder that we have another webinar coming up on October the 31st, Car Wash Chemistry with Paul Harkins from Sunny's. So be sure to register for that one. At the end of the webinar today, if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If time permits, we'll get to all the questions. If not, they'll be passed along to our speaker today, whom I'm sure will be happy to answer any questions that we don't get to. So again, today is being recorded. For future reference, you can find this recording on the CCA website in the reference library. So today is car wash marketing, the rule of thirds. This is part one of a part two series. This webinar is the rule of thirds. And the thirds rule includes impulse buying, digital marketing and exposure, and word of mouth activity. So these are going to be practical steps. Today's section one are practical steps to optimize impulse buying and how to leverage word of mouth in your marketing project. Our speaker today is Tim Walker. Tim Walker is president and founding partner of Soapy Brushy. Tim is always creative and innovative. Tim has spent over 20 years in the car wash industry, advising and supporting great operators in every aspect of the business. Coming from a marketing background, he can grasp the big picture and has experience and network to help car wash operators find success. Good afternoon, Tim, and thank you.
Hi, Karen. Thank you for the intro and the nice words. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. As Karen said, this is the part two series. This is part one of the part two series of the rule of thirds. I just want to give you a little bit of background about myself, my career and entrance into the car wash industry. I started in the food industry, and it was doing packaging, food design for packages that would go into Costco's or Soapy's or different grocery stores. And I kept seeing these car washes all over the place, but some of them looked like office buildings. Some were tucked way back. Some were, or a lot of them were run down and just looked terrible. So I saw an opportunity to help an operator. So I started knocking on this one operator's door, and I knocked on it for 1 year. And then finally he called me back and he set up a meeting. So this is great. I get to have a meeting with this operator, and I drive to his location, and it's a big site with multi-profit centers in there, and it was a little confusing. Parked my car, didn't know where to go, and I saw a group of gentlemen standing by a building. So I walked over there and asked if this specific operator was there, and they kind of opened up a little bit. And there was a gentleman kneeling down, and he looks up at me, and he's painted all in white. He says, "Have you ever had a bad day?" I'm like, well, I guess not as bad as yours. So the story goes, inside his car wash, he was finishing a renovation, and he had hired some spray painters, and the spray painters were painting, and the overspray was going onto the cars exiting the car wash. In order for him to stop them from spray painting their cars, he had to jump in front of them and got covered in white paint. And that was my very first introduction to the car wash industry. And the journey continues and still continues till today, as we get into, the 20 years of experience and knowledge that's been built to this date. So, for some reason, oh, there we go. It's working now. Okay, sorry, it wasn't working. So I want to talk about the rule of thirds and how important these rule of thirds are for your marketing ecosystem. And you need to complete each one of these steps properly and thoroughly. And you have to focus on them as in department of themselves. So the impulse buying is one department, and word of mouth is another department that we're going to be focusing on today. And then on November 14th, we'll get into the digital marketing exposure and how important that is, and what a big trend that has been today for the success of car wash operators in the growth of their business. So let's get started into the characteristics of a successful car wash operation. I've always said the characteristics of a successful car wash operation it has to be focused on the operator or the manager on how they run the location. I've worked with many operators throughout the years, and I've seen them complete all the tasks and become successful. And the tasks can be proper maintenance, proper chemicals, proper marketing, proper staffing, proper training. Or I've seen operators do some of them somewhat successfully and don't focus on the big picture. And that's where they're leaving a lot of money on the table. So where we're focusing on today is the marketing aspects of it. And we're going to be getting into the impulse buying now and how important impulse purchasing is for a car wash operator. So let's start out by asking ourselves, what is impulse buying? Impulse buying is somebody's emotion of making a purchase of something they didn't plan on purchasing that day. They did not go out to set it and do it. They had no plans on getting a car wash today. The decisions that they make are spur of the moment and are always triggered by either feelings or emotions. And let's go into the next step in the journey on how you get there, because it starts by having a brand, having a proper, well-designed logo, using signage correctly with the typography and visibility and the architectural of the car wash building. So let's get into one, what is a brand? A brand is far more than just a logo. People often think a brand is a logo. Brand is not just the logo. Brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that, taken together, account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over the other. So I would like to get into a bit of a story today. And again, of course, it all goes back to car wash, and the memory goes to brand. I was in a convention, and this was my very first car wash convention in Las Vegas. So it was many years ago. I was with a supplier to the industry, a potential operator that became an operator, and other guests. We decided to take a trip to the Grand Canyon, and we rented a car that day. The convention was done. Let's have some fun time and spoil ourselves. We're out of country. We're in a place and we're discovering things, and wanted to see something new. So we drove out to the Grand Canyon, and on our drive out there, it was getting time for a washroom break. We needed to stretch our legs. We've driven for a while, and we were looking for a recognized brand where we could stop at and have a joyful moment. And that brand, I don't know if you remember at the time, there was a $1 coffee, and this brand made $5 coffees, and it was called Starbucks, and it still is called Starbucks, actually. And some may enjoy the brand, some may not, but they were the first ones to actually bring joy and pleasure in the experience of buying a premium brand, a premium product. And we were talking about it as we were walking in, and the one individual says, I've never, ever had a Starbucks coffee. And we're like, oh, really? They're great. And I said, have you ever had a caramel macchiato? And he says, I've never had a Starbucks. I said, oh, we have to get those. They're delicious. And he says, great, this is my buy. We said, okay. We told him we wanted 4 large ones, and off he went into the line, made the purchase, and the cashier said, sir, that would be $30. And all of a sudden we hear, $30. Well, he enjoyed the treat that day, and today still a Starbucks fan. And this was all done from us being out of country, going on a trip, recognizing a brand, and experiencing a great experience so that we can tell this story and move on to the next part here of what we're going through, which will be logo and the importance of the impulse buying on a strong logo. And today we're looking at 2 logos. One I'm going to say is an excellent design. The other one's going to be a poor design. The first one we're going to look at is the valet car wash and why this logo is strong and impactful. Because when I look at it, the first thing I see is retro, valet, I see the bow tie, and I see the word car wash. That speaks to me that they've got something behind the brand. They've got a retro look, a retro feel, and the valet and bow tie goes into the service of what they do, and they focus on the service. And that's the differentiating part between this brand and the brand down the street. When I get into Magic Touch Car Wash, I look at it and I go to look at this as if this is a big sign, a large sign promoting the car wash. Well, the only thing I see is Magic Touch. There's an old truck from the 40s that doesn't correlate to me to what it says below. In smaller writing, it says Express Car Wash. I don't know how they put the 2 together, because Express Car Wash in 1940s pickup truck don't seem to correlate to me anyways. And the word Express Car Wash is small. So when I'm driving down the street and correlating this to the signage, am I going to pick up on car wash, or am I just going to see Magic Touch? When you're designing your logo, you have to keep in mind that this logo is got to be featured in all your signage and in all your different medias, such as your website, your print medias, your stationaries, and it's got to be able to fit in properly and to be able to be read and recognized quickly. With the poor design, it doesn't speak to me, and it creates challenges on creating it to the signage and creating it to your web, your stationery, and different medias that you're using. So the next part I'd like to get into will be the signage and the importance of using a logo into a sign and the steps that are used. So this here is a pylon sign. And when this pylon sign was designed, one of the things that was looked at is the visibility from the street to the car wash. So about 400 to 500 meters from the car wash is the visibility for this sign. But you have to have the legibility of the of what the messaging is on that sign from about 400 to 500 meters. So you use a visual chart. A visual chart will tell you how large to place the letters so that you can pick up on that while you're driving. Is there too much messaging on this sign? This sign's messaging is clear. It's classic touchless car wash, and it can be read from 400 to 500 meters away from the site, and gives the driver an opportunity to make a decision. Oh, is my car dirty today? Do I have time to turn on my signal and drive my car to the car wash and get myself a touchless car wash today? These are the areas that you need to focus on for the impulse buying. They're critical. And we'll keep going. And this is another touch. Actually, I'm surprised it picked up both for our touchless car washes, and most of the work we do is tunnel. But this is another case where this car wash was in the back of a strip plaza, far back, and we wanted to pick up on the emotion. It was a smaller town, but it had a great surrounding area, and there were some destination points. So we did a lot of work on the pylon sign to make it strong. As you can see in this logo and sign, the word car wash is very powerful to pick them up, get the attention, and to drive them through to the wash. There's other profit centers there, burgers, could be doctor's office or whatever. Burgers, they're picking up on comfort food. Hey, what's another comfort or pleasure I'd like to have today? Well, my car's dirty. We have signage that drives them to the wash. This wash was successful because when we did this, the social medias and digital marketing were not tactics at that time. So we were focusing on the impulse, and we're able to pick up on the impulse to make this wash successful just on the signage and experience. Now we get into the building and architectural aspect. And what we're doing here is we're tying the brand, the logo, the signage into the building to create the ultimate impulse purchasing decision. This location here, it's located on a busy street. It's surrounded by a very large grocery store, fast food restaurants, sit-down restaurants. It's an ideal location to pick up on the impulse. What I like about it, this was when we upgraded the brand, took it to the next level. And if you look at the building was used as a big part of it to pick up on the emotion, because you think it could have been a car dealership. It's very fancy. It's somewhere where I'm aspiring to go to see what happens. If you look at the name says Classic. It says Classic Express, and in the rendering, we have the word car wash. So when you're driving by, or you're at the grocery store or the fast food place, wherever you are in the area, it's enticing to go there and see what it is. And when you're seeing a lineup move quickly, lots of good, healthy commotion going on through that wash, as it's managed properly, it's going to make you, inspire you to go, hey, maybe I need a car wash. See what this is all about. And you go through that car wash. It's got such an experience because it's worked well on all the small details that you need to put into the wash to pick up on the emotion for when you get into word of mouth marketing. And we'll be talking about the word of mouth marketing shortly. But this is where we got to go to pick up on to the emotions of the impulse buying that goes into the word of mouth marketing that goes into the digital marketing. And we'll get into the digital marketing because it's one's analog and one's digital, and we have to marry them together. And that's why we call this the rule of thirds of car wash marketing. The next one that we're going to talk about is a wash that I love. It was very unique. We put a lot of time into it and strategic thinking. And the strategic thinking that we went into is when I talked to the customer. Originally, they took over the location, and I asked them specifically, do they want to operate other car washes, or are they just wanting to have one car wash site? And they said they only wanted to have the one car wash location. Then we got into it was in an up and coming neighborhood downtown Toronto called the Junction. It was becoming very trendy, a place to live. And the reason why it got the name Junction, because it used to be near a railway station. And so that's how it got its name. And it became a real community. So again, we wanted to pick up on the emotions of the community. We brought it into the car wash, and we literally created a party here. If you look at this building, to me, it looks fun. It looks like a party. Like, what's going on there? And on this location, weren't able to use signage in the sense of pylon signs to draw the location in, because every car wash has its unique differences, and you have to look at the unique differences and try to optimize them. And this one here, we're able to optimize the building as its sign because it was very close to the road. And we're able to pick up on the community of the word junction and tie train tracks into the building and into the brand that was built here. And when customers drove by, they were able to see free vacuums, unlimited car washes, $19.99 a month. Wow, this is great. And their impulse brought them into the wash. And the signage going through the wash gave crystal clear messaging to help them make the choice of what wash package they wanted. And when they got to the attendant, it inspired them to ask questions of what is this an unlimited $19.99 car wash? Why do I want it? How do I want it? How does it work? Like, how do I buy it? And they were able to explain you pay $19.99 a month, and the $19.99 month gives you unlimited car washes, or we have different options or packages for you that will suit your need best. And this part was great because we were able to tie the brand or the rule of thirds into the brand, the logo, the signage, and the building architecture, which will lead us into word of mouth marketing. And word of mouth marketing is very powerful or damaging. And what we want to do is make it powerful for you, as most powerful as we can, by making the best experience we can make in the car wash industry or car wash experience. As your customer drives through the car wash, gets on site, and leaves feeling great. Most people often give bad reviews or like to give bad reviews. And in word of mouth marketing, you can't control that. In digital marketing, there's ways you can control that. And that's why that digital marketing is important. And we'll be talking about that on November 14th. This only happens after people have had a positive experience at your car wash. And what creates a positive experience? And the only control you have is giving 100% of your clients the very best experience you can offer them. And every wash is different. Every wash model is different. And so I'm only going to talk about maybe one scenario here today. We could talk about different ones later, but let's say a multi-profit center, which is busy. I'm busy. I've got to go to a meeting. I need to get gas. I'm frustrated right now. I go get my gas. I pay for it. And I see my car's dirty and got to head to a meeting. And I look and I see that there's this well lit up branded car wash with good clear signage. And it could have multiple lanes. And with it having multiple lanes, I'm a little confused, but the signage is able to give me an experience in the sense of direction. It's giving me clear direction that for my purchase today, I need to go into this lane. And I drive into this lane, and there's a few cars in front of me, and I'm reading the signage that's educating me on what wash to purchase. I get to the pay teller. I'm not digital savvy. I'm having some complications. And what helps with the experience of this is there's somebody there, a teller, a person that comes out to help me with the automated teller to make my purchase, to get rid of some of the stress. Then the next part is I get to the next part and drive my car around into the tunnel of the wash, and there's somebody there guiding me into the wash. I'm like, this is great. I've got into the wash. Somebody's here to help me, giving me a great experience. What's my next step? And there's this great big nice lit arch that's giving me the steps of putting the car in neutral, getting me ready to go through the car wash. And then all of a sudden in the car wash, my car is covered full of chemical and I can't see, but I can smell a wonderful scent. This chemical is giving me a nice smell, and hopefully that scent lasts and maintains the good experience. You go to the next step. I'm looking at the receipt of what I've purchased, and I'm seeing the chemicals being applied with proper signage inside the car wash that's indicating that's what I'm getting next, and through the experience of the entire car wash. Then I go to the dryers. The car dries my car properly. I have a clean, shiny car, and my experience from driving onto the site and to leaving the site, which is very, very important, as when a customer drives onto your car wash site and leaves your site, has a smooth experience, and it's all about making them feel good, so that when they go to that meeting that they're going to the next day, or that next stop that they have, they could possibly open up the conversation. Hey, have you gone to this car wash? I just came there. I had a great experience. Now this customer gets into his car the next morning, his clean, shiny car, to go to work, and it still has this nice smell from the chemical inside the car that it's left there. And he drives to work and he's able to communicate, hey, I went to this car wash at the, at his coffee break, or the water cooler, and just having some small chit chat with a colleague, or maybe when he goes out for dinner, is creating that positive experience for him. And that's where we want to lead this into. It's very impactful and memorable experience. And these experience that we have is, we'll call what we've talked about today as analog, but the analog experience, we need to transfer that. And this is why we call it the rule of thirds, is into the digital aspect of your car wash marketing, and why it's so important to have these three steps and the marketing ecosystem working together, and placing them all as individual areas that you need to focus on. And if you focus on all these three areas properly, you'll be optimizing your marketing car wash to its best ability. So on November 14th, we will be getting into the digital marketing and the importance of the optimization of the three steps we have and how it brings to digital marketing. thank you for your time today. Do we have any questions that you would like us to answer, hopefully correctly as possible?
Thanks, Tim. That was a great presentation. I loved your visuals. Party at Junction Car Wash.
So is that a question? Is the party at the Junction Car Wash?
No, I just a comment. I like that
Oh,
comment you made. It looks
oh,
like the
okay.
party's going on at the Junction Car Wash.
Well, it really does, and it just feels good, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I love it. It's amazing.
So if anybody has any questions for Tim, you can post them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. We'll just give them a couple of minutes there, Tim, to see if somebody's typing. I look forward to part two, which is coming up November the 14th at noon. Don't forget to register. So part two is the third of digital, how to wrap this all together with your digital marketing.
Correct.
Good.
And then once we get into the digital marketing, one of the things we'd like to get into next, and we haven't set the date, but we'll lead you into it, how important the sampling program will be to your digital marketing program and to the ecosystems of the single purchase of the car wash, a single purchase for your car wash, like
Oh,
not the memberships, but the single purchase customer, and how we can get the data on them, on what they're doing, and we can focus on marketing the individuals as well, opposed to just the membership marketing.
yeah, I've been looking forward to the sampling program for a long time. I can't wait to get some more information out to our members. That program is going to be exclusive to CCA members, and we'll be announcing the date for the information session shortly. So
Okay,
we do
very
have a question here from Matt Verdi. Great presentation. What are one or two marketing changes a new owner can make that have the greatest impact?
that's a so when we say marketing, this is a tough question to answer, because when we say marketing changes, I don't know what they were doing originally at their operation, or their thoughts of their operation um, to impact their return on investment. Matt, are you able to be a little bit more elaborate on the question? Like, what are the changes that they need to make? Like when they're starting a car wash, you need to focus on, one is the land location, and what's around their car wash. Is it a viable location? Is it going to draw the traffic, or do we have to bring people into it using other marketing? There's so many aspects of car wash marketing. I would just need to know a little bit more information.
So Tim, he's elaborated a little bit here. He's wanting ways to let the community know that there's a new owner and how to create a buzz.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Matt. That's great. Yes, there's lots of great tools. One of the greatest tools would be the on-site signage and the digital marketing, and getting the message out. Biggest way probably would be the social media aspects. I'm not a digital marketer, but that's be our next step, and maybe Paul can lead into that question. But when you're on the site, needing to educate them, would be clear signage indicating it's new ownership, letting the customers know, and using the social outlets to drive the traffic back to your site by getting the messaging out and hopefully correcting the poor messaging.
Thanks, Tim. I have another question here. What percentage of your revenue should be allocated to marketing of a car wash?
That's a great question. From this work that we like to do is we encourage our customers to focus on 5 to 10% of that to marketing of their car wash. 5 to 10%.
Okay. I don't see any more questions at the meantime. If we get any more questions, I'll be sure to forward them on to Tim, and he'll be sure to get you an answer. Again, thanks a lot, Tim. This was a great presentation, and I look forward to part 2 on the 14th.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Karen, and thank you everyone for joining today. And I'm happy to answer any other questions. Just email me. I'll answer them at as quick as I can for you.
All right. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Yeah. Bye now.